Columbus area Congresswoman Joyce Beatty has been elected the next chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. It's a group with growing influence on Capitol Hill. Our Washington Bureau reporter Taylor Poplar spoke with Beatty in what was her first TV interview since being elected.
The Congressional Black Caucus is a nearly 60-member group of U.S. representatives and senators dedicated to creating more opportunity and equality for Black Americans. And come January, Ohio Congresswoman Joyce Beatty will take over as its chair on the start of the caucus's 50th anniversary.
It's not like I'm starting from scratch. I'm going to build on the 50-year foundation.
The Columbus Democrat has been vice chair of the caucus for the last 2 years and is a close ally of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. In her first TV interview since being elected chair, Beatty explained what she'll prioritize, following a year that saw nationwide protests after the murder of George Floyd and the start of the coronavirus pandemic that has disproportionately impacted Black Americans.
It is a three-pronged pandemic. When you look at the health care, of course, but it is also an economic pandemic that is married to that, and it's a social injustice pandemic that's married to that. So it's a three-pronged number one for the first 100 days of my leadership.
Beatty becomes the third Ohioan to chair the CBC. Cleveland Congresswoman Marcia Fudge served a few years back, and the late Representative Louis Stokes helped found the caucus. American University professor and former Ohio State Senator Capri Cafaro told me the group's influence has grown in the last half-century.
Both the majority and the minority, whether you're Democrat or Republican, really do need to involve the Congressional Black Caucus because they are so numerous and because they do hold so much sway politically as well as policy-wise when it comes to either developing a bill or getting the votes to make sure that it passes.
Beatty told me she's already been in touch with constituents back in the 3rd District to help form her platform as chair. She also received a congratulatory call from Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, who has been a member of the CBC during her time as senator and will become the first Black vice president of the United States.
She knows the issues, and she's going to be in the highest position as a go-to person for us.
With control of the Senate still up in the air, Beatty is waiting to see how much she'll have to work across the aisle to get CBC-backed legislation signed into law. And though she supports President-elect Joe Biden, I asked her if she has any concerns that as an older white man, he could be limited in understanding the challenges minorities face.
I am very comfortable when I look at what he has proposed thus far. Now, that does not mean that he won't get challenged or questioned or that we will be silent on issues.
In Washington, Taylor Poplar, Spectrum News.
In addition to fighting the pandemic and reforming the criminal justice system, the Congressional Black Caucus also works to combat voter suppression and expand access to education.